During its invasion and occupation of Crimea, Russia promised prosperity, higher wages and pensions, and that Crimea will have the best resorts in the world. But instead of tourists, soldiers from the Russian army came to fill the beaches. Nuclear weapons have returned to Crimea, and the UN has adopted several resolutions concerning the militarization of the peninsula. Russia continues to grow its military might within Europe. Russia's goal is to be counted among the elite ranks of superpower states. But to accomplish this, the Kremlin can't think of anything better than cynically blackmailing the civilized world with nuclear weapons. Ukraine is the least lucky in this regard because it has the longest border with Russia among all European countries. Vadim Skibitsky. Today, if we're talking about our country and its borders, then there are two armies that are being actively assembled. These are Russia's 20th Army and Russia's 8th Army. These are the armies that would be used in an expansion of military aggression against our state. This is issue number 1, being constantly monitored by the Defense Ministry and General Staff of the Russian Federation. In 2014, Russia developed two new strategic directions: to control the Black and Azov Seas and to establish an additional launchpad for another attack on Ukraine. The active militarization of the peninsula began right after the occupation. Mykola Sumhorovsky. Sevastopol is a port where multi-ton military vessels can dock. Russia was building a naval base in Novorossiysk, but then commercial interests took over, and it became more of a commercial port. Where else could they go? The Russians began arming Crimea at breakneck speeds. According to the Ministry of Defense, after 4 years of occupation, by 2018, the enemy had already stationed 32,000 military personnel, 122 fighter planes, 71 naval ships, 62 helicopters, 40 tanks, 16 Zenit missile complexes, 16 submarines, and other weapons there. And if recent reports are to be believed, Russia doesn't plan on stopping there. By 2025, their numbers can grow up to 40,000 military personnel. In addition, re-equipment is underway. New modern frigates are coming into service, as are submarines, corvettes, small missile boats. A large aviation group is being formed with new fighter and fighter bomber planes. Russia has armed the peninsula's shores against enemy submarines with the Bal and Bastion anti-naval missile systems that can defend more than 600 kilometers of shoreline. And now the skies over Ukraine are in the crosshairs of Russia's S-400 Zenit missile complexes. S-400 Triumph is an improved version of the Soviet S-300 ZRK. In Crimea, they are stationed in Jankoy, only 50 kilometers from mainland Ukraine, and also in Yevpatoria, Feodosia, and Sevastopol. The deployment of Russia's weapons allows it to launch attacks not only on Ukraine and Europe, but even reach North Africa. The activity of the Russian National Guard forces and Russian NBC troops at the Feodosia 13 facility that was once used for nuclear weapons storage until 1994 suggests that Russia has renuclearized Crimea with weaponry. The nuclear threat is likely present aboard Russia's Black Sea Fleet vessels too. On board the ships and submarines of the Russian Black Sea Fleet, there are up to 100 winged Kalibr rockets with a radius of 2,500 kilometers that can carry nuclear warheads. That is, they represent a threat not only to Ukraine, but to all of Europe. Instead of a booming tourist economy, Russia's invasion of Crimea has turned the peninsula into one big Russian Federation army base. It happened gradually, like in a ghetto. First they put up a fence, then it grew bigger, then a locked gate, then the barbed wire. I was most shocked by the barbed wire. Crimea became part of the Russian Federation, as a part of Russia, and on any part of our territory, we have the right, and we will, build our military policies as we see necessary to guarantee our security. Crimea is no exception. It's as plain as day that the Russian Federation is not preparing to defend the peninsula, but to attack the civilized world. We won't see peace in Crimea, as we won't see peace in the eyes of the man already up to his elbows in blood.